Hi, welcome to Transformation Now. I'm Rita Rocker, and I'm an international author, speaker, trainer, and consultant with SoaringHigher.rocks. And my heart is to really be with you, spirit, soul, and body, and really go through life together and triumph through all the transitions we go through. And this is my dear friend Carmelita de la Guardia.
Thank you. I know my last name is pretty tough, but anyway, Carmelita de la Guardia. I am a musician, vocalist, slash translator. So it's so nice to be here with all of you to talk about all of our trials that we go through.
Yes, thank you. And today we're going to talk about fear. We said, what should we talk about? And we both kind of felt like fear, because fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And that is so true. And fear can paralyze us, can keep us captive in a bad home situation, in a job that doesn't come anywhere close to being what we're capable of doing, in all kinds of ways. Fear gets a hold of us. Now, why do we fear? I mean, fears can be put into us from, I heard one time a lady accidentally dropped her baby when the baby was real tiny. And after that, as this girl grew up, she was even afraid to go up and down in an elevator because she felt that. And so fear can hit us at any time in our lives, no matter how young or old we are. And what we do is we sabotage. We quit things. We don't get involved in things, in groups and organizations and sports and careers because we're afraid. We might say the wrong thing. We might do the wrong thing. We might be rejected. I have a friend who's a retired nurse, and even now when she gets with more than one person, she just kind of sits there and kind of closes herself in, and she said she was just afraid she might offend somebody by something she said. So fears really can get a hold of us. What are they? I mean, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being in some sort of pain, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Fear of abandonment is huge. If we had someone leave us, we're afraid someone might leave us again. So we may not get into another relationship because we don't want to be abandoned again.
And I have to say, as far as fear that I had, how old, the age thing here, that we think that, because we're a certain age, we can't do certain things in life. Well, I went into Mrs. Nebraska in my 50s, so I ran for Mrs. Nebraska in my 50s, and that opened so many wonderful doors, for my career, for my singing career, going to Carnegie Hall. I mean, there are just so many things that happened after that, so, oh my gosh, I can't tell you, so as far as take that next step so you can get to where it's going to be the best for you.
Absolutely, and there are steps. Sometimes we want to get from here to there and don't realize we have steps to go through and connections to be made in order to get to that place. And you mentioned being in the Mrs. Nebraska pageant, and that was a big step for you.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh my gosh, this is different. What do I do? How do I act and react?
Well, being 53, 54 years old, it's like, not many women would do that, but I felt that I needed to do it so that I could feel better about myself, because I was always so shy.
Yes.
I didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't think I was pretty enough. So all that helped me. Doing the Mrs. Nebraska opened many doors, and I think that you just need to do what. And the reason why I did it is because I had some negative going on in my household with my family. Saying that I was not smart enough. So I thought we can't do this. So anyway, that's why I entered Mrs. Nebraska, to say, I am smart enough, I am pretty enough, and I can change lives, not only my own life, but others that are out there struggling in the same way.
And that is so true. And I remember I taught modeling classes years ago, so I helped a lady, I won't say how many years ago, but practice for the Mrs. Nebraska pageant, and then I had a desire to enter it, but my husband had come down with bone marrow cancer, and we kind of went back and forth. But I went ahead and entered, and I won Mrs. Nebraska that year, a long time ago, in a land far, far away. But I still struggled, even at the Mrs. America pageant, going through his illness and also feeling less than,
tough,
and
yeah.
not as classy, not as wealthy as the other ladies. And so again, we can accomplish something and still have to, move forward and keep fighting. And so much of that is perception. Perception is basically how we see ourselves and how we interpret ourselves and the world around us and how we compare ourselves to other people. And that's a lot based on our past experiences or where we are financially and in every other way. And so it's so critical to change our perceptions of ourselves, like you did. I'm going to enter this anyway, and
Exactly.
how you do is like, oh gosh, what if I lose? I'm going to feel like a big failure.
It was hard work.
It's a lot of work,
Yes.
but it's something I would
Worth
encourage
it.
all of you to take a step of something you really want, and maybe you're scared half out of your wits, but take that step, because we can't really break fear until we actually go through it or do something to push through. And then it's like, oh my gosh, look what happened.
Got to take that first step.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. So, if we expect rejection, if we expect failure, because that's what we've heard from parents and teachers, well, that's what I expect. We don't even know quite often that we're doing that we're actually expecting to be rejected, abandoned, a failure. It's subconsciously, all this is going on in our head. Oh, well, gee, that's what I'll get because that's what I've always had. And so when we expect more rejection and failure, that's what we're focusing on, and we always get what we're focusing on. And so you need to really expect the good things, the positive things, which is hard when you don't see any of that around you. But that's the way we nourish, what we get, what we focus on.
Well, change the mindset. You got to change your mindset and just be around people that are going to, give you that boost or there's so many, I would say that, just don't, just stay, again, I'm going to say this, stay with people that are positive. That's where, they'll give you the strength. And of course, faith in God.
Absolutely. Because really, it's so many times it's due to past failures that we keep thinking about that. And that's I'm letting that go. I'm rewriting my life. I may be rewriting a chapter of my life's book, or I may have to throw the old book away and just plain start over. And we have the power to do that. When again, I think of Walt Disney and how he was raised, he and his brother, with a very abusive father up in, I think it was Wisconsin, in a dairy farm, and never got to play. He had to work on the farm even in the winter when they froze their little bottoms off in the winter. And yet all this time he's dreaming, he's thinking about this awesome place where people could go and they could relax and they could have fun and they could enjoy life. And so without anybody being supportive, with no money, no nothing. I mean, he started with nothing. He got rejected over and over again. Did he let all that keep him from it? No. His desire, his goal was so strong that no matter what happened in his childhood, no matter how many people were mean and rejected him and not having the resources, he kept going. He kept creating in his mind what he was going to do. And now look, Disneyland, Disney World, overseas, beautiful place.
Amazing, yeah.
So a lot of times it's the past experiences, it's the self-talk, it's things like that we've conditioned ourselves to. So expect good things, and a lot of times you're just going to have to repeat, I am beautiful, I'm smart, I'm going to meet the man of my dreams or the woman of my dreams or things like that, and to continue to repeat that in your mind until it becomes cemented in there. But fear a lot of times will follow the same format of past defeats. And so the only way we can do that is to rewrite. Every time a negative comes in, well, you don't have the money. Well, I have the brains. Like you said, I have the brains, I have the smarts, I am intelligent, I love people, I get along with people, I'm very good at negotiating or reasoning. Think of all those things that you do have that are very good, very creative for you. Because like Carmelita said, it's never too late to begin again, to start over.
That's right. So I think that the difficult times will, strengthen us. And now, didn't you tell me that those difficult times in Haiti? Tell the story about that.
Well, that was quite a interesting time in my life, and it's also in that one book, Hope at the End of Your Rope. Like I said, I had been a Mrs. Nebraska, and I went to the Mrs. America pageant, but my husband was dying of cancer then, and so it was an extremely difficult time in my life. But he told me he wanted me to go and experience that. And so that was August 3rd of one year, a long time ago. And then exactly a year to the day later, on August 3rd of the following year, I found myself standing on a rock porch in Haiti, covered in bug bites as a widow. And so life had totally changed, bug bites and stinky clothes because of where I was. And just life had completely changed. I didn't want to be there, but I knew I was supposed to be there with the church group. And so I went and thought, my gosh, what has transpired in this past year, the exact day? You know, now I'm sleeping on a rock floor of tarantulas, and it was really bizarre. But that was the most awesome, life-changing experience for me, because I had been through so much in every way. And just like, you know, I don't want to live anymore. This is just too much. And now he's gone, and I'd already been through a lot of abuse, not from him, but previously. And so I thought, But, you know, when I got home, I was thanking God for a bed and a shower and food and a needle and thread and, you know, toothbrush and everything, because I really saw how hard life can be, how painful it can be. And so, you know, even when we think of ourselves in such a hard way and we're so sad and we're so depressed, you know, the best way to get out of that is start thinking of what's going on in other people's lives. You know, are they on oxygen? Are they in, you know, dying? Are they suffering? Are they starving? And when we start counting our blessings, I can see, I can hear, I can, well, one ear I can hear, I can walk, I have food to eat, you know, I have a roof over my head. And all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I have a lot to be grateful for. I'm not one of these people that's going around, you know, like this football coach who has no arms and no legs, and he's a powerful football coach.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, go figure.
You know, I know we complain about all these things that we don't have in our country here, you know, and I'm an immigrant. So, you know, I came to this country with my parents, and it's just, you know, I know nothing is perfect in any country, but we have all the freedoms here, and that's, I mean, I don't know if I want to go into the politics stuff, but, you know, we have the best here. And once that you leave this country and you see so many other people out there struggling, it's just that, you know, you think, gosh, you know, I'm so grateful to have freedom of speech, freedom of many, you know, many things here, so that other countries don't have.
Yes, that's so true. So again, you know, it's redesigning our life is removing all those things that have affected us all of our lives. And sometimes that even means confronting unforgiveness. So it's like, what does that have to do with it? A lot. Because if we hold unforgiveness against ourselves or someone else or God, you know, what that's doing is that's all we can focus on is just the anger, the hurt. So many times when somebody is angry, the underlying cause is because they've been hurt in some way. And so a lot of times, if it's like, why can't I go forward? Why can't I keep moving on in life? It could be that there's so much hurt and anger and unforgiveness that we can't see out there. We can't get it, you know, because of things that have been said or done. And we have these destructive tapes playing over and over and over in our mind. And so one of the things that I learned, because again, you know, all things are possible with God, but I felt like one day he said to me, because I said, God, I can't forgive this person. I've been hurt so bad. I cannot forgive this person. I know I need to. I have to. I want to. But I don't know how. And I so clearly heard his voice say, ask me to forgive her through you. Really? I said, okay. Would you please forgive her through me? Because I want to. I just can't do it on my own ability. And I hadn't seen her in a few years, and 2 weeks later I run into her, and it was all gone. And so one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to just say, you know, sometimes if I'm really mad at myself, and I'll think, well, that was really stupid. Why'd you do that? Because I had that conversation a few times. But it's kind of like, Lord, help me see myself through your eyes. And so many times I've had to do that when we feel like a failure, when we're afraid of something to go forward, or help me to see that other person that has been mean or abusive or whatever the case may be, got the promotion that should have been mine, you know, whatever the case. Help me see that person through your eyes, or myself through your eyes, or help me to forgive that person by forgiving them through me. And if you do that and you're sincerely honest about doing that, you will be amazed at how you can be set free from those things. so that you
Yes.
can move forward in your life, because that's no longer hanging on.
No, it's heavy, heavy, heavy stuff, you know, because I know through my divorce, I said, I can't go on like this thinking that, you know, if I have this, like, you know, my heart would ache and it's cloudiness and you can't think straight. And so giving that and releasing that is the most important thing so that you can go on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that hurt, that unforgiveness can be a weight around our,
Oh, it is.
our ankle,
Yes.
and we can't go
Yes.
forward. So that's huge. And fear of failure, you know, sometimes we have prayed so long, or we've tried so long and so hard for so many years maybe, that it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I give up. I'm just going to take a shortcut. I'm going to go do this instead, do something else. I'm giving up on this. And so what happens then is we might be so close. It might be one more pump in that old water handle, for instance, that actually will get us to that point, that goal, that connecting person, whatever the case may be. And so you probably can all think of that, well, I quit school. Okay. Now, because I did that, what happened? I'm in a job that pays me like $15 an hour less than what I could have had, the one I wanted, the one I loved, because I just got tired of trudging through school, because sometimes it'll take working parents years to get through, but they keep at it. You know, it could be I didn't relocate like I should have because I was afraid of the unknown, and so because of that, I missed out on a good opportunity. Maybe I would have met my partner there, or gosh, now I've got these nice winters, things like that. And so sometimes we jump ahead. So really pray for guidance as to, is this the right time? Is this the right moment to do this? What is my next step? Sometimes we have to quit because we're going down the wrong direction. And I always tell people now, if you have agitation, if you don't feel good about something, if you're just like too fearful about it, usually that means God's saying, don't go down this path, it's the wrong one. But if you have peace in your heart that, yes, I feel peaceful, I feel like this is the way to go, that's when you pretty much can know, okay, time to move
Yes,
on.
your gut feeling. Because I noticed that, like, when I was studying for my real estate, you know, I had real estate going, I had my job going, and I had my music going. It was just so many things, and I was just like, wow, you know, I don't know if I can do this. You know, it confuses us. Like, so much is going on at the same time. So it's time to, you know, like, stop and see where, maybe just take, you know, one thing at a time. You know, for instance, my real estate, maybe I need to get that going maybe, you know, 3 or 4 months from now, once that I do what I'm doing now. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much that we can do, and we got to do it right, you know, because otherwise you won't do anything. It's just too much.
Exactly,
So,
because not making a decision to do something is making a decision.
Yes.
And people say, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to kind of sit here. No, that's a decision not to go forward. That's the decision not to succeed, because we're making that, you know, instead of thinking, well, you know, what is my heart's desire? Like, I would encourage all of you, get out a piece of paper and a pen and think, what are my real heart's desires? Maybe ones that I put on the shelf for years because life got in the way, and you know, not in a bad way necessarily, but just so many things happen. So where do I really want to go, and what's going to equip me for my dream job, or in order to move to another city, or to find my partner? How do I let go and move forward and start thinking about those things, and what is it going to take? And you know, even educating ourselves for a better job, you can find a bazillion things on the internet that will give you classes, that will give you training for free just by doing that. You can learn so much that will educate you for another job, for instance, you know, so that's one thing I would encourage you to do, is to start learning, continue learning about whether it's things that are happening in the world or in your particular skill. Watch YouTube, watch videos, create new skills for you to do that.
there's so many opportunities today. I mean, we're so blessed. We can go on the internet, like you said, and select whatever we wanted. It's just the desire to take that first step to go towards that, you know, goals that we want in life. So I mean, there's just no way that we are in again, failure is because we didn't take that first step. So the first step
Yes,
is the key.
it is. Always got to step forward. You know, no one can look backwards and go forward and create a new life. We can't keep looking in the rearview mirror and thinking about all the things that happen to us and go forward in life. And so every time a negative thought comes in your mind, please stop and rewrite it, rephrase it into something. You know, they be maybe younger, they have maybe more technical skills, but I have the people experience, I have the knowledge, I have good negotiation skills. Think of all the things that you have and not compare yourself with what other people have.
All positive.
Yes. Because fear, again, can cause depression, it can cause anger, it can cause unforgiveness, and so we refocus and just continue to go forward. You know, breakthrough comes when we're just too plain tired to reap negative situations anymore and let those feelings into our daily lives. And it's like, you know what, I've had it. I am not going to let this person or this situation do it anymore. And a lot of that has to do with triggers. You know, people can trigger us into anger, into fear, because, oh, I experienced this before. Now this person just said the exact same thing. I'm afraid, or, oh, I'm angry. And so one of the things I would encourage people to do is go, you know what? Next time that happens, next time that person says that to me, this is what I plan to say. And show that you're above those situations, that you know, those triggers they know they can get you with.
Yeah, you change the reaction. Change your reaction. Do something different.
Exactly.
It didn't work before, well, now you need to change a different way of approaching that.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, when that person gets on me again, I'm just going to maybe smile and say, have a good day. I mean, sometimes I've seen people do that. Yeah. Something positive. It's like, well, this really blew my mind. Darn it, I didn't get to them anymore. Nope, you're not going to either, because I'm changing this attitude, this thought up there. And we all have God's DNA in us. You know, DNA is basically the blueprint of our lives and our bodies, but I call it God's divine nature and attributes, his DNA. And when you don't feel good enough, think, who's in you? If he's in you, who's in you? He created everything. We're pretty powerful, you know, when we stop to think about it that way. So you think of, you know, Glinda and Dorothy in her little red shoes, and Glinda's telling her before she takes the boat, you know, at the end, she says, well, my dear, you had it in you all along. You had the ability in you all along. We just didn't realize it. We were afraid of it. It was too covered up with stuff. So focus, whether it's prayer, scriptures, beautiful music like Carmelita CDs, that can really put you in a place of peace and a place of power. And like my mom always said, give it to God. He's awake all night anyway. So I thought that was kind of good.
Well, the only thing I can say is that the situations that we've been in, these situations are there because we need to learn more about who we are and what we can do. And I can't say more from there.
Mm-hmm. And always, you know, never let failure define you, because like I've said before, if you find that you put yourself on the clearance rack, take yourself off the clearance rack and put you behind the glass where the valuables are kept, because that's what you are. You're valuable. You're not someone who should be on the clearance rack. And, you know, one last thing I'll leave you with right quickly is, you know, when we look at a packet of flowers where it's just seeds in a packet, and we look at that and they, oh, these are so beautiful. I love these. I want to have these flowers. And so then we take them, we get them home, and we, you know, take them out. I was like, oh, this ugly little shriveled up nothing. And it's like, oh, well, here's these beautiful flowers, but what is this? And then we look at it and go, well, this is what I am. I don't, you know. And so we have to realize we nurture, we feed, we water, we care for those seeds. And it goes through rain, it goes through heat, it goes through all these things, but it becomes beautiful creation. And so be encouraged that when you feel like you're that little brown shriveled up seed, that you nourish and encourage yourself. You hang around the kind of people who will build you up and not tear you down. Those people that will just be alongside to support you, to be your friends. And watch yourself grow into that beautiful creation, because you are. And we know that. And we encourage you with that. So think about that. And now we just want to say goodbye, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care now.